Okay, so have you ever like walked out of a job interview and just been like, ugh, I should have said this, or I wish I had done that?
Oh, yeah, totally. I think we've all been there, right? It's like that feeling of, did I just totally blow it?
Exactly. And, you're not alone because so many people struggle with interviews. And that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah, we're taking a deep dive into this podcast that claims to have like all the secrets to interview success.
We call it cracking the interview code, something like that,
Hmm.
which, is a pretty bold claim.
It is, but they actually had some really interesting points. So we're going to break it all down for you guys.
Yeah, we'll pull out the best strategies, the things that maybe surprised us, and of course, the common mistakes to avoid.
Because let's be honest, learning from other people's blunders is always helpful, right?
Absolutely. So let's start with like the big picture. Like, how does this podcast even frame the whole interview challenge?
Well, they really emphasize that it's not just about like answering questions and hoping for the best.
Yeah, it's not just about surviving the hot seat.
Right. Right. It's more about thinking of the interview as an opportunity to like strategically present yourself.
Okay, so it's more about persuasion than just like recitation.
Exactly. And they have this amazing point about the power of storytelling.
Oh yeah, they talked about this study that found that stories are way more memorable than just like spitting out facts and figures.
Like 22 times more memorable. Can you believe that?
That's crazy. It makes sense though, right? Because we connect with stories on like an emotional level.
Totally. So instead of just saying like, oh, I increased sales by 15%.
You tell a story about how you did it.
Yeah, like I noticed this problem, then I implemented this solution and boom, 15% increase.
Way more engaging, right?
Yeah.
And it shows you can actually think critically and solve problems.
Exactly. It paints a picture of you as a person, not just a list of accomplishments.
I love that. Okay, so storytelling is key. But where do we even begin with all this interview prep?
Well, the podcast really hammered on the importance of research.
Research, okay. But like, isn't that kind of obvious? Don't you always have to research the company?
Yeah, but they went deeper than just like skimming the About Us page.
So what did they say?
It was about understanding the company's challenges, their competitors, what they're currently focusing on.
Oh, so like really digging deep and finding those nuggets that show you've gone the extra mile.
Exactly. Like checking recent news articles, press releases, even looking up the interviewer on LinkedIn.
Okay, so you're not just showing up and being like, so what does your company do again?
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you're genuinely interested and invested.
Which makes you stand out from all the other candidates who didn't bother to do their homework.
Right. Because let's be real, most people don't do that.
Okay, so research storytelling.
Got it.
Yeah. What about the age-old question of what to wear?
Oh, man. The podcast had some interesting thoughts on that.
Like what did they say to just always wear a suit?
Actually, no. They kind of threw that old rule out the window.
No way. Really?
Yeah, they said it's more about understanding the company culture and dressing accordingly.
So like if you're interviewing at a tech startup, maybe a suit isn't the best move.
Exactly. It might even make you look out of place. You want to fit in, not just dress up.
So research your outfit too.
Got it.
But what about once you're actually in the interview room?
Well, then it's all about those nonverbal cues.
Yeah.
Body language is huge.
Oh, yeah. Totally. You can say all the right things, but if your body language is screaming, I'm terrified.
It's not going to go well. The podcast talked about things like maintaining natural eye contact.
Right. Not like staring intensely, but also not avoiding eye contact altogether.
Exactly. And having an open posture, projecting confidence but not arrogance.
It's a delicate balance for sure.
It is. But they also gave some tips on how to read the interviewer's body language.
Ooh, that's interesting. So you can kind of gauge how they're reacting to what you're saying.
Exactly. Like, are they leaning in? Are they nodding? Are they checking their watch?
All those little clues can help you adjust your approach on the fly.
Exactly. It's about being present and responsive, not just delivering a canned speech.
Okay, so we've covered the good stuff. Now for the juicy part, what about the common interview mistakes?
Oh, there were some good ones. The podcast really emphasized that bad-mouthing previous employers is a huge no-no.
Yeah, why is that such a bad look?
It just makes you seem negative and unprofessional, even if you had legitimate reasons to leave a job.
It's better to focus on the positive and what you learned from the experience.
Right. And they also talked about the importance of being concise and not rambling on and on.
Especially when you're nervous, it's easy to just start talking and never stop.
Yeah. And that can be really off-putting to the interviewer.
And of course, they emphasize the importance of being prepared for those classic interview questions.
Well, yeah, like tell me about your weaknesses or why should we hire you?
Those can really trip you up if you haven't thought about them beforehand.
Definitely. So preparation is key.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
What are the top 2 or 3 things you want listeners to take away from all of this?
I think the biggest ones are preparation is key. Storytelling makes you memorable.
And authenticity